Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and I kind of wanted to announce something over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be doing a year-end review series, and that's going to start with this very video where we basically go over everything that's happened in the year, have a bunch of like top 10 lists. Like you can see with today, we're doing top 10 best cards of the year. We'll do worst cards of the year. We'll have like best decks, best wild decks, all that kind of stuff. So if you haven't subbed already, you haven't hit that notification bell, which apparently 69.5%, pretty nice number, but regardless, people have not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you haven't done that yet, and you feel like I've earned your subscription, I would really appreciate it. Maybe we could push for that 17,000 by the end of the year. And yeah, you'll get notified of when all these videos go live. And also, make suggestions in the comments below. I haven't decided on every category we're going to do. This will all be all this will lead up to an award, basically award episode at the very end of the year where we'll have best card of the year, best deck of the year, all those type of categories. So feel free to suggest that, but I have a few in mind, and we're going to start today by going over the best cards of the year in Hearthstone. So to categorize this, the cards had to have been released this year. So it had to come out during either Galakrond's Awakening, Ashes of Outland, Skull and Mince Academy, or Madness at the Darkmoon Faire. And we're going to go over the best card for each class. So every class is going to have their best card as well as the best neutral card. So 11 cards in total. So enough talking. Let's get right into it. Let's go over the very best cards from 2020. So starting with the brand new class of Demon Hunter, it's a little bit difficult to try and pick the best card, but I've decided to go with the Skull of Gul'dan, the 6 mana draw 3 spell. If it's outcast, reduce those cards by 3. This has been just an incredible powerhouse of a card in Demon Hunter. It just is ridiculous. Getting that draw is pretty good, but the mana cheat is insane. This used to cost 5 originally and is just completely busted. It's run in aggro, in combo, in soul. It's just a ridiculous card. And honorable mentions for this category, I had Twin Slice and basically a billion other Demon Hunter cards. There's a lot of good ones, but for me, Skull of Gul'dan wins it for Demon Hunter. For Druid, I have to go with Overgrowth, a 4 mana spell, gain 2 empty mana crystals this turn. Basically has been staple in Druid since it was put in Ashes of Outland, whether it was Spell Druid, Guardian Animals Druid, Malagos Druid, it doesn't really matter. It's run in Wild as well. Getting that ramp on 4 and particularly curving into that 7 play could just be incredibly powerful. You have cards like Bog Beam, and it just opens up a lot of stuff. It's allowed for Druid to do a lot of broken stuff. You draw Overgrowth on 4, playing almost any Druid deck, your win rate goes way up. And for me, the honorable mention was Guardian Animals, but it did get nerfed, and it just isn't quite the same card it used to be. For Hunter, I'm going to give this one to Rottenest Drake. This came out during Galakrond's Awakening, and it's the 5 mana 6/5 dragon. If you're holding a dragon, Battlecry, destroy a random enemy minion. Incredibly powerful, was staple in like Dragon Hunter, Reno Hunter. It's fallen off a bit lately, but the only other card that really fits into a lot of the decks that Hunter's been playing lately is my honorable mention of Warpletinger. But I feel like Rottenest Drake was so good for such a long time and still sees play today. It's just not like the top tier deck it was earlier, that I feel like Rottenest Drake earns the right to have that. You could also throw in another honorable mention of the Prime, which was also pretty good and still run in a bunch of Hunter decks. For Mage, I'm going to give the award to Wand Thief, the 1 mana 1/2 dual class minion that has a combo of adding a Mage card to your hand. You can discover a Mage card. It's just been incredibly flexible in basically any single Mage deck you ever want to play. So he's playing Wild too. It's that good. And it's just allowed for, Mage loves to create spells. It loves to be able to play cheap stuff. It accomplishes basically everything Mage wants to do. It's just an incredibly good card. And getting like another, let's say, Evocation is ridiculous. Or just getting, a Ray of Frost can be life-saving. It's just an incredibly powerful card. And the honorable mentions for me are Jandis Barov, the other dual class card with Rogue, and Astromancer Solarium, but that got nerfed, so that got hurt quite a bit. That might have won this award if it hadn't got nerfed. For Paladin, I have to go with First Day of School, the 0 mana spell that adds 2 random 1-cost minions to your hand. Basically ensures Paladin has an incredibly good turn 1. 1-drops are pretty darn good on average, and you can even hit something like the aforementioned Wand Thief. That's really solid. And once this card came into play, Paladin has been like pretty top tier ever since. It's a big part of it. Like, it has good synergy with High Abyss Allura, where you just cheat out a spell. And yeah, this has just been a staple in pretty much every Paladin deck in Standard since it's been put in. And hell, it sees some play in Wild too. Honorable mentions for Paladin, I have to go with High Bessalura, as I mentioned, and Hand of Adal, as well as Libram of Justice. There's a lot of really good Paladin cards that came out this year. And yeah, it was hard to pick it, but I gotta go with First Day of School. For Priest also got a bunch of really good stuff. This one was hard to pick, and basically became a toss-up between two cards, but I'm going to give it to Renew, the 1-mana spell that heals for 3, and you discover a spell. It's just incredibly flexible. It can help like cheat other spells. You know, with your Nazmani, you can create another spell if you have it out there with a Sethic Veilweaver. It's healing, it's value, it's insane. And when it came out originally, you could renew into Renew, which is even more busted. And it can create cards like Palm Reading or Apotheosis, which are also incredible spells, which are my runners-up for this award. Apotheosis was the one I was really, really on the fence about, because without Apotheosis, Priest can't really stay alive without, like, you know, Wild Pyro Apotheosis. You're just sticking Apotheosis on any large minion, especially the way Demon Hunter dictated almost the entire year in Standard. But I'm going to give it to Renew by just a bit, with the honorable mentions being Apotheosis and Palm Reading. For Rogue, I'm also going to give the best card for Rogue to Wand Thief. It's in basically every Rogue deck since it's been instituted, other than like Aggro, Stealth Rogue, or Weapon Rogue. It's just, again, it's even better in Rogue than it is in Mage, because you have things like Shadow Step, you have things like Foxy Fraud. It's just a lot easier to combo, and then you get to abuse things you normally can't do as a Rogue. You can get a Frostbolt, you can get a Board Clear, things that aren't normally accessible to Rogue for good reason, and now you have it, and that can be incredibly powerful. Get a random Pyroblast to get that lethal, get a Puzzle Box. It's just an insanely good card in both Mage and Rogue, and it's definitely my top Rogue card, with honorable mentions going to Jandis Barov as well. In Rogue, it's probably even better in Rogue with Shadow Step, of course, and Foxy Fraud has been incredible as well. You could honestly give it to any of these three. They're all really, really good. The best card for Shaman, I'm going to give it to Bog Spine Knuckles, the 5-mana 4/2 weapon that evolves your board by 1. It's basically been the only really good archetype, tier 1 archetype in Shaman is the Evolved Shaman, and even before this expansion, I know like Jean-Beret had success with it. It wasn't like top tier, but it was good enough because Boxspine is ridiculous, and now with cards like Cage Match Custodian, it's a hell of a lot more consistent, and that deck is one of the best, if not the best deck in Standard since the nerfs went live. So I'm going to give it to Boxspine Knuckles with the honorable mention to the Cage Match Custodian because it draws you your Boxspine Knuckles. So really good cards there. For Warlock, I'm going to give the best card to the Hand of Gul'dan. 6 mana, draw 3 cards, or if you discard it, draw 3 cards. And when you have cards like Nightshade Matron that help, you know, discard this for sure, it's just completely busted. Drawing 3 cards, and for basically free a lot of the time, or, oh, you have the downside of playing a 4 mana 5/5 with Rush, is just incredible. It's like, you know, Warlock hasn't been great in Standard, but when it is, it's a lot of the time Hand of Gul'dan's a part of it. And of course, this is insane and wild with all the crazy discard stuff there. And has just been a really, really good card. The runners-up, honorable mentions would be Dark Lair, especially pre-nerf. It would probably have won it pre-nerf. And Canthrad Ebonlock, the Warlock Prime minion. So, Warlock didn't have a lot of amazing stuff, but there was some decent stuff, so gotta shout them out. With Warrior, I mean, there's no other card to really talk about in terms of top cards. It's Risky Skipper. This card is incredible. It will rotate this year, even though it came out in 2020. It's part of the prior year of cards, so it will rotate, but this card has basically been the staple in every Standard deck outside of like a couple variants of Bomb Warrior. But yeah, just Skipper Armorsmith, Skipper whatever. It's just an incredibly powerful card. I love the card. It's really cool to play, but man, has it been a top, insanely good card in Warrior. Basically, it's entire. It's so good that it makes Warrior, like Dead Man's Hand Warrior, playable and wild. That's how good it is. Runners-up, there's a lot of other good Warrior cards, by the way. Warrior got a lot this year. Runner-up goes to Corsair, Cash, Lord Barov, and Sword Eater. All incredibly powerful cards. And last, we'll take a look at the neutral set, and my card of the year for the neutral set, this one was tough. There was 3 real great cards that stuck out to me, but I'm going to go with the recently nerfed Lore Keeper Polkelt. This card just opened up so many opportunities and deck building opportunities and just broke the game in a lot of ways, where you play Polkelt into Skull of Gul'dan, you play Polkelt into Bran, Polkelt into like your Totoloran and Turtle Mage, Polkelt into Shadow Reaper Anduin. It's just, to be able to guarantee your draws is such a powerful effect, especially when they're game-winning draws. And it just recently got nerfed, so maybe it will fall off this part, but even as it got nerfed, I still see this card as an incredible powerhouse and just at a super high power level. And the runners up for me are Pinflinger and Animated Broomstick. Pinflinger, this, you could definitely make the argument that this should go to Pinflinger, but I feel like Pinflinger isn't as game-winning as Polkelt was. Just, it's very flexible. Same with Broomstick. They're incredibly powerful cards, but for me, I gotta give the nod to Lorekeeper Polkelt. So those are my picks for cards of the year for each class for 2020. Let me know in the comments below what your cards of the year are for each of these classes in the neutral set. And one of these cards will win Card of the Year in our year-end award show. So make sure, if you haven't hit the sub button, I know I'm pushing, but if you haven't hit the sub button, make sure you do that. If you like the video, please hit that like button. Have a great day. Stay salty, my friends.